First of all, I want to praise Velma. I know how bad that sounds, and I don't have brain damage, unlike the writers of the show. But listen, just listen, okay? Just hear me out. I want to praise Velma for two things, and two things only. One, the passable animation. I'm gonna praise them for the animation because they've tried their hardest, at least, to not look like every other Family Guy clone. And two, for being the first show that I can remember in a long time that everybody hates. Like, do you know how hard it is to unify Twitter? And you did that, Velma. You. But enough with the praise. This abomination is so flawed, and I have narrowed it down to 3 key areas that makes me wonder how in the hell this show was allowed to be picked up for TV. HBO Max, you better come out saying that this was all one big money laundering scheme, because this show this show is going to be the reason behind my villain origin story if it doesn't pattern up, I swear. Now, the characters. Oh my god, the characters. Where do I begin? I mean, look at them. Who are you people? Look how they massacred my boy. Scooby-Doo, where are you? Now look, I haven't got a problem with race swapping. Honestly, as a black man, I couldn't care less. But the character assassination executed on everyone. One of them, it's downright criminal. And Mindy Kaling, however you say her name, Mindy, I'm calling her Mindy from now on. Mindy, along with all her cronies, should be arrested and locked up for crimes against the United States. What is up with Hollywood churning out these awful female protagonists that just spew out absolute toxicity and hide it under the guise of being a feminist or woke? And Velma is the absolute worst. She is a spiteful, toxic, hateful individual who wonders why she has no friends. And the only friends she does have, she manipulates and treats them like trash. Every other line that comes out of her mouth is a hateful and snarky comment to whoever is unfortunate enough to be within her vicinity. And the show plays it off as if it's like somehow supposed to be her being witty and clever.
I'm not just a waitress, I'm also
a basic bitch who doesn't even know how to use hashtags.
But she just comes off as an insufferable let me not swear. Let's keep this PG. I need that paycheck. And they couldn't even get her intelligence right.
Yes, and I don't want to do our math homework together. Just email me your answers like always.
Like, why is Velma asking Shaggy? Oh no, sorry, I mean Norval. Why is Velma? I'm keeping that in. Why is Velma asking Norval for his math work? I thought Velma was the smart one. And oh my god, Shaggy. They murdered his character so much that he's not even called Shaggy anymore. And I know Norval Rogers is technically his real name and Shaggy's just a nickname, but come on. This guy's head looks like a tall glass of chocolate milk with burnt marshmallows on top. Remember Shaggy? The guy with unspoken riz and could pull any girl by just existing? Remember that guy? Well, you can't have him no more. Instead, take this simp who pines for an evil woman with no redeeming qualities and will go as far as to sell his own kiddie for $500 for a chance to go on a date with a girl who doesn't even acknowledge his friendship. Like, Shaggy, are you an idiot? Kidneys go for up towards $10,000 on the black market, and you're trying to skimp it out for $500 just to get a chance, not even get like the actual date, a chance to get the date. Like, they really built my boy stupid in this one. Literally, Norval's whole character is to worship a living turd. Also, the show thinks it's smart by having Norval say,
I think it has something to do with drugs, which I hate.
The original Shaggy never did drugs. He was just built that way, and the writers clearly didn't care enough to do their research. It is so obvious that by the end of the show, Norval is going to do drugs. Let's be fair though. Shaggy is or Norval, and I'm going to stop calling him Shaggy. I'm going to start calling him either not Shaggy or Norval. So not Shaggy is the least insufferable character in this entire show, but that isn't saying much. Now Daphne is now an Asian woman. Not that you could tell from her character design, but she's now a typical mean girl in an adult cartoon high school comedy. Yeah, that's it. But wait, plot twist, she deals drugs so she can buy a private investigator to look for her real parents. Daphne's whole character has the depth of a plank of wood, where every other line she says is a reference to a TV show.
But if the kids in every teen show ever can get through a brush with a deranged serial killer, so can I. According to TV, it's morally okay to deal drugs if your life is just kinda crappy. Have you ever noticed how pilot episodes of TV shows always have more gratuitous sex and nudity than the rest of the series?
And Fred. Oh my god, Fred. Fred got the worst of it. Obviously, the only character that stayed white is the character that the writers have chosen to be the punching bag. Hollywood wants you to just villainize him completely. Fred used to be a stand-up guy who had to learn how to leave the gang in their mysteries and loves setting up traps. This Fred is emasculated and stripped of any decent qualities, but don't forget,
Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong.
because the show won't let you. I just look at these characters and wonder, how do they think we can believe that this group of people turn out becoming the mystery gang we know and love? Because I hate every single one of them. Alright, the jokes are bad, plain and simple. But if there was even a good joke in this show, it is surrounded by the mountains of crap that is meta-humor and body shaming.
That lesbians were good at solving crimes. It's like the one positive stereotype perpetuated by cop shows. Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong.
Pop culture, when a slutty girl is murdered, we're all a little like, well, maybe she deserved it.
Owners watch Norval Snacks? Damn it! This is exactly what happened to my vlog about Lil Wayne.
Personally, I don't mind these types of jokes if it's like, one or two an episode, but it's every other line. At this point, I am convinced the writers have never actually spoken to real people in their lives, because real people do not speak like this.
Have you ever noticed how pilot episodes of TV shows always have more gratuitous sex and nudity than the rest of the series?
This joke only works if you did the opposite. You said bad shows use nudity as a hook and then proceed to show nudity. You don't get a pass for calling it out beforehand. It just makes you look stupid.
In teen movies, whenever a girl needs money, a guy sells something and then blackmails the girl into dating him for it.
What does that even mean? What shows have you been watching? What are you even referencing in this joke? Because you can only do a reference joke if people understand the reference, and the reference is lost on me. Maybe it's just me being an idiot and not knowing what show it is, but if you guys know down in the comments, please tell me, because I don't know any show that does that. The show can't even go 10 seconds without making the same joke twice.
Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong. He did it. Now, excuse me, I have to go find my missing mother.
You didn't mention Fred had a tiny dong.
Oh, yeah. Real baby carrot. And I'm gonna ride it all the way to victory.
Huh?
And I think the jokes at Fred's expense are the worst in the show. Because deep down, if you really think about it, it's just blatant racism. Just Mindy's weird obsession with white people.
If I were a rich white dude, I'd kill everybody just to get away with it.
I mean, that's just racist. Imagine if the roles were reversed, flipped 90 degrees, and Velma was white, saying something like this. You know how bad that would sound? And if this is a reference to who? Which white person got away with murder just because they were white? Like that, yet again, this show is making references to shows or something like in reality that I've never heard of before. Also, what is up with the tone of the show? If the show is about murdered girls and their brains being removed, why am I supposed to take that seriously when shit like this happens? Also, this whole guy's foot coming off becomes the running gag for the rest of the season, at least for the rest of the episodes that I've watched. And why that happens? I have no idea. I don't know. They just think it's funny. And it was at this point I thought, who is this show for? Because it's definitely not for kids with all the violence and sexualizing of, let me remind you, minors, and the show openly mocks adults.
You know what 420 is, right?
Yeah, it's code for adults who still watch cartoons.
So, yet again, I ask the question, who is this show for? It can only be for the writers who have pandered so much that they are pandering to themselves now, patting each other on the backs, thinking that they have done a good job. Here we are, the final piece in this, Velma's holy trifecta of crap that is the writing. The plot? Along with Scooby-Doo, where are you? The show would have you believe that the story is about Velma trying to clear her name and find the true culprit after being framed for the death of 2 girls whose names I can't and will not remember because I really do not care. They don't make you care, so I don't care. And oh yeah, also Velma's mom is missing or something. But I guess that's just an overarching plot point that gets brought up every other episode, but whatever. But in reality, it's about Velma's school life where everybody hates her and she doesn't know why. Where she deals drugs, drinks alcohol at an even younger age than she already is, judges and stereotypes everyone to a racist degree, and forces a lesbian relationship with Daphne even though they are seen to hate each other in every scene. The only consistency in the writing is how consistently terrible it is. The core mystery is forced to take a backseat where more episodes feel like filler, and if we do learn something about the mystery of who the murderer is and why they are doing it, it is done in the stupidest way possible. Like for instance, Velma is taken into custody and is given 24 hours to figure out who the real killer is. Because I guess that's how the police work now. They don't do any of their jobs. They just catch you and oh, you get a 24-hour time frame to clear your name. Because these writers, and they're living in a fantasy land. They don't know how society works. And the way Velma does her detective work is atrocious. Atrocious to the point that you can't even call it detective work. She believes Fred committed the crimes just because, and get this right, just because he's a rich white guy, and she doubles down on this belief even after Fred defended her in school when everyone thought it was her. And again, this causes me to think, how do this group of characters become the mystery gang in the future, where Fred is driving the van and Velma's in the back seat. Velma's in the seat next to him, and he's just like there, happy-go-lucky. While Velma, he knows Velma betrayed him, but I digress. Apparently the show doesn't want you to think about it. Another instance of terrible writing is the fact that Velma thinks her mother disappeared in a flashback, right? That her mom disappeared because she solved a mystery. But later we realize that actually her mom disappeared because Velma and her dad are horrible people, which is fair. So she takes this to mean she doesn't need to feel guilty anymore, and it will stop her from having panic attacks. This makes no sense on a character level, because if anything, you should feel more guilt for knowing that you are the reason behind your mother's disappearance. But this is then, get this is crazy, but this is then later retconned in the same episode where she is like, no, my mother must have been kidnapped because she still loves me. What is this crap? Oh, and the plot holes. Don't get me started on the plot holes. Like, how did Velma break into Fred's house? Like, she was having panic attacks and she's just inside. That's not explained. How come Fred can walk after being shot in both kneecaps? Why did the police even shoot Fred when Velma is the one who broke into his house? If anything, they should be shooting Velma for breaking an entry. Why did Velma hit Daphne with a hockey stick in the beginning if she claims that she was only there waiting to shower last? How did Velma break into Fred's house? Like, am I the only one who cares about this? Because I don't see anybody else asking this question. Like, this makes me, I can't sleep at night. Like, how did she break into the house? Why does Daphne ask Velma for $500 when she is shown to be hiding hundreds of dollars already? Why does Velma like Fred even though all she displays throughout the show is hatred towards rich white people with tiny dongs especially? And Fred is shown to have these facilities, but she still likes him anyway. This is just Mindy's weird obsession with white people. Why does a cigarette hitting Velma's mum's eyelid cause her eye to just fall out? And if Daphne is Asian, why does she have naturally red hair? And yet again, how in the hell did Velma break into the house? Like, it's just gonna drive me insane if I just keep thinking about it. Jesus Christ. The show, it's giving me an aneurysm, man. Those are just some of the plot holes I caught. As of writing the script, episode 5 and 6 are yet to be released, so I'm going to watch those later to see if this show can really sink any lower. But before that, here is my theory on who the killer is, since the show doesn't seem to care about that plot point anymore. So I believe that Velma's mom is the killer, and as stupid as that sounds, it feels like something the writers' room will come to like as their answer. Because I think right, that Velma's mum left to get Velma a present, like Velma was saying. But she decided, instead of a present, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna make a mystery. And this mystery was 2 years in the making. It's a mystery that only Velma can solve for some reason. So she goes around hiding, cutting people's heads out, and cutting people's brains out. And Velma is the only one that can solve this. Why? I don't know. We just have to watch the show to find out. But don't watch the show. It's terrible. Thanks for watching this video. I just had to get this off my chest. I thought 2023 couldn't get any worse after the dross that was Rings of Power and She-Hulk from last year. But Jesus Christ, 2023 took 2022, shoved a fist up its ass, and then brought it out and just became that, saying, yes, I'm that guy now. Like, what is this? What has happened to Hollywood? Anyway, as I'm recording this, I'm just recording this after. I've watched episode 5 and 6, and good lord, this show can't be saved. It just can't be saved. What have they done to Scooby-Doo? Like, I don't know if I should spoil it in this video, or should I do another video? I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing videos like this. Maybe if you like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me how you think. I can do more videos in this style. But, yeah, as I said before, this show will be the reason for my origin story. My villain origin story. Alright, thanks. Cola out.